Going in. Hi, everybody. Happy Thursday. I am really stoked to be here. My name is Malika Albrecht, and I am the founding editor of Redheaded Stepchild. And I have deep thanks for Sandra Feen for connecting Nick and I so that I get to have proper voodoo lessons tonight. Our Nikolas Macioci earned a PhD from Ohio State University, and you may have already heard me talking about how he taught in Columbus City schools for 30 years. The Ohio Council of Teachers of English named Nick the best secondary English teacher in the state of Ohio. Huge congratulations, and thank you for being an English teacher. That is the very thing that helped me survive school. Amazing people like yourself. Nick is the author of 23 books. He was twice nominated for a Pulitzer Prize, nominated 5 times for Pushcart Prize, and twice for Best of the Net Award. His poems have appeared in such magazines as the Hong Kong Review, the Bombay Review, the Raven's Perch, Main Street Rag, Hiram Poetry Review, and Taj Mahal Review. He won first place in the 1987 National Writers Union Poetry Competition, which was judged by Denise Levertov, first place in the Baudelaire Award competition sponsored by the New World Order of Narrative and Formalist Poetry. And we are super excited tonight to be celebrating voodoo lessons. If you look in the background and also notice Nick's shirt, it's going to be a good night. Nick, thank you so much for being here and letting us celebrate with you, and congratulations on the new book.
Thank you very much, Malika. I appreciate you very much. The subtle change. I like to see a dad embrace his child, shift the child into a safe position in arms intending to protect. This thought occurs in the Kroger parking lot as I wait for my friend Henry to finish shopping. I guess there was a time in our history when a man would not pick up a baby until the baby, if it was a boy, was old enough to chop wood. What was the secret cure that made men into real fathers? Did society poke a finger at machismo long enough to chip away a facade and show that men had a pulsating heart beneath hardened skin? I watch a man kiss his baby's head as he carries the child into the store. It feels as if this parking lot is a place of revolution, a place where tenderness is not restricted to only moms. My observations arise from plenty of evidence. I believe I've found the world a little more kind and caring today, a little less vulnerable and afraid. Unwritten bloodlines. My biological dad bought the cops in our neighborhood. I saw it with my own eyes, how he traded cases of beer from our confectionery for casual favors. In fact, cops on number 5 Cruiser gave me a BB gun for my 8th birthday when BB guns were still illegal. When I was 9, I overheard cops and my dad talk about prostitutes, setting up a time to meet beneath the viaduct on South High Street. I knew much, but didn't say anything. There was a power in my silence. I never personally came across Dad's infidelities. I knew they existed just as much as the frumpy 18-year-old girl who lived around the corner and up the alley he openly flirted with whenever she came into our confectionery. Mom served as a safeguard against this early insanity that racked my brain. I viewed her as clean and pure. I needed to. I couldn't afford to trade her off for a different truth. Sparrows in snow. I forgive myself for mistaking a clump of snow at a distance as a white-throated sparrow. My mind, crammed with the yearning for the yellow silk of daffodils, craves blooms to open before their time. Mid-February oppresses me. I stand at the living room window, a blanket wrapped around my shoulders, focused on the snow-covered terrace where green tips have poked through icy crust. The promise of spring has broken through sludge of winter, and I know I'm only weeks away from best songs of the northern cardinal and American robin. Sometimes I just want enough road to get away on until I see flowers like hope coming into the world from hard ground. The burning sun warms me through the glass. My empty house is as quiet as smoke. I cannot say more that I have a hunger for what does not shatter at my touch. The hand pressed against mine, waiting together to name the season. I want to wrap patience around a stranger's dream. I can do that. Share the forthcoming green, the ache of wanting someone in the next room while grass awakens and I ignore everything except the stranger's lustful glance that swallows me. Death on a sunny day. It doesn't seem admissible that a person should die on a day when fate turns a gasoline can upside down, strikes a celestial match, and every detail of the world burns bright as magnesium. A day when being alive is a tenuous and temporary gift consciously appreciated. I've often left a funeral parlor thinking, how could it be possible that the dead person isn't alive to cherish the afternoon sky that now belongs to someone else, the sky more blue than anyone ever dreamed? I think a life just can't end when spring blooms of the snowball tree awaken, or when a door of summer opens on the vast green smell of cornfields, and senses can't die before autumn's harvest, when eyes long to gaze upon apples, pumpkins, the roadside markets, the sell cider, and a feeling of perpetuity. I want wings on all of us to fly out behind our heads, to fly close to the sun without melting, and exist forever, away from downdrafts and that pull toward the depletion of life. Sunsets and struggle. I amble to the end of Marlowa Drive, on which I live, a dead-end road with 16 houses that ends at a piece of rusted wire fence. Beyond, a grassy knoll slopes down to Route 317, but my spot at the end of the road overlooking the fence feels very isolated from everything and everybody. August sun has begun to liquefy, a watery shimmer of amber dripping over the horizon. I arrive at the perfect moment to snap the picture I want. Over the years, I've collected many shots of the sunset from this spot. It is my collection of finales, ends to a multitude of days. It is not a secret spot, but I claim it as a personal location where I can stand alone for a while and evaluate how to end an abusive relationship, one in which the danger of losing myself looms imminently. I touch the piece of rusted fence, wonder about its story, what it is enclosed or kept out. Has anyone else ever touched this same spot? Has she or he been someone's lover? Has anyone ever died hanging onto this wire before they sank to the ground disenchanted, covered with the burn of sunlight, a vermilion burial? Beneath the veil of grace. A handsome man walks into the Methodist church. He wears tan trousers and a medium brown sport coat. He coughs into his hand. I see this from a kitchen window with binoculars. I inherited from my Aunt Liz, who used to watch through a living room window drunks stumble in and out of infamous bar directly across the street from her house. I'm watching Sunday's congregation humble themselves as they approach the carved wooden door of the entrance. I assume many of the parishioners have empty hearts they attempt to fill with religion and pious beliefs. I wonder if there are miscreants among them, people planning a murder, cheating in a committed relationship, engaging in some kind of perfidious behavior, waiting for the pastor to cleanse them, convince them that a commitment to Jesus will make them damn near perfect. I imagine the crowd, dewy-eyed with belief, have scattered its bad thoughts at the feet of the pastor, convinced of expiation. My eyes tire. I put the binoculars on the table, veer from the window, as if turning my back on easy redemption. A son's unfinished dialogue. I talked to my dad's grave today, told him it was imperative that he come back. We need to talk. I asked him not to quip after each of his questions, my questions, to take my inquiries seriously. The most pertinent question after his return will be whether or not he loved me. I suspect he didn't, but I must hear the pronouncement from his own lips. I'm convinced that I embarrassed him because I was not the son he wanted. I told him the reason why I have neglected his grave, let weeds grow and grass encumber the tombstone, is repayment for his disregard of me. I felt abandoned by him, even when he was married to my mom, and after the divorce, his abandonment was complete. I reminded him of his abuse of Mom and me that started when I was an infant. He threw a knife at my head while Mom rocked me. I crouched at his grave over an hour. My legs ached, so I stood, stretched, kept my eyes on the tombstone. I wasn't entirely finished speaking to him. I revealed that I felt like David in Psalm 69, outcast by his father Jesse. I said to my dad that it was impossible for him to redeem himself, insisted that he appear again, look me in the eye, and listen to the sound of ruined self-esteem, the sound of a child weeping, the sound of an adult begging for a final conversation. The Complete Guide to Not Caring. I decided to keep the Fox channel on, even though I don't like to watch baseball. I stare at Truist Park in Atlanta, Georgia, where 41,084 fans have squeezed into seats to heckle and cheer the 2025 All-Star Game. I tolerate the opening ceremonies, entertainment with a forced baseball theme. The crowd rustles to its feet, and players doff their helmets as Zac Brown sings the first note of the national anthem. I'm engrossed by the emotional moment. Think of the myriad people who have served this country and sacrificed their lives for peace and independence. I watch the first pitch, but then my mind drifts to how sexy the players look in their uniforms. Even that doesn't sustain my interest for much longer. I mute the sound and begin to write this poem, in which I'm trying to figure out why I'm the only person in the world who doesn't like sports. Yes, that's an exaggeration, but I'm certainly in a minority. I don't hiss at the screen. Nevertheless, I turn off the TV and embrace silence. If I'm ever in the public and there's talk about this game, I will keep quiet. While others rattle on about statistics, I intend to collect details for yet another poem. I wish I could capture the majority's interest in sports, put it under my pillow, and hope a mythological creature would make it disappear the way the tooth fairy does a bad tooth. Voodoo lessons. The low rhythmic chanting of the priestess and the pulse of a drum fill the little hut. Air waves with incense, cleansing herbs, and hopeful energy. On a small worn table in the center of the room, a row of cloth dolls lie waiting. Each doll, crudely made from stitched cloth, is distinct and carries a token, a wilted flower, a piece of ribbon from a forgotten gift. These tokens are not curses. They are symbols of people's hopes, sorrows, and desires for health and peace. The priestess fixes eyes on the dolls, lifts a small glittering silver pin from a wooden bowl. Candlelight glints off the pin, and a reverent hush falls over the room. Chanting softens. The drumbeat slows to a deliberate, heavy thud. With a slow, precise motion, she pushes the pin into the chest of the first doll, a doll meant for a woman suffering from a wasting sickness. As the pin enters the cloth, the priestess' lips move silently in a prayer for healing, a plea for the woman's strength to return. The pin is not a weapon, but a conduit, a way to focus intention and send a wish of well-being across the spiritual divide. She repeats the action with each doll. A soft thud of the pin entering the cloth echoes in the compact space. Each pin represents a prayer for a safe journey, for a troubled child to find peace, for a family to overcome a difficult time. The dolls lie motionless, but their stillness is potent, brimming with unseen power of compassion and optimism. The atmosphere is not one of fear, but of profound shared faith in the ability of good intentions to make a difference in the world. Six-gun saturation. Why couldn't I tune into the violence so common and natural in the movies and television shows that depict the Old West, but I can't tolerate gratuitous brutality passed off as acceptable. A new Western premiered tonight on the Fox channel. I watched the first 10 minutes out of peripheral vision, instantly concluded that the show reveled in handsome men wearing big hats, firing rifles at one another, and running horses so fast that the kicked up dust made the Oklahoma Dust Bowl look insignificant. Where would entertainment be without guns? What if death were non-existent? Cameras would fold and actors could go home without fake bullet holes in their chests. Of course, there's always comedy and romance, but even those themes have been saturated with guns, ferocity, and brute force. What to do? Besides amble on down to the Bull's Head Saloon, sidle up to the bar, knock one back with a swig of tonsil varnish, so strong it strips the pain off your throat, and leave spurs at the door of a sporting woman like Six-Gun Sally. After all, isn't that how the West was conquered, one saloon girl at a time? Thank you.
I'm over here still writing notes down. Oh, this is gorgeous, Nik. And I can't wait for you to read the comments because I think you'll understand what we were experiencing. But if people want to unmute and just take a moment to say amazing.
Yeah,
Amazing. I like that so much, Nik. I went over to Amazon while you were reading and ordered a copy of the book.
Oh my goodness. All those poems were from the book except the last one, and I wanted to get something a little bit lighter in the picture, and that's from a forthcoming book called A Fever of Paper Cranes.
Looking forward to it.
Yeah, and also I first I'll have to say before most people were here, I was asking Nik some questions, and I said, I love the cover, and it turns out he worked with AI for creating it and kept working and working until it was exactly that image, and I'm fascinated by that. Also fascinated, Nik, that you heard the title and that this happens a lot for you. You heard the title before you wrote the poem, and you do have like magnificent titles. I have to say, but I love that. And so is that seems like that's pretty typical for you that there's a title that comes to you and you that fascination shimmers you into a deep dive on the topic or in order to write it.
It happens to me a lot. In fact, the title I just mentioned, um, A Fever of Paper Cranes, came to me, and then I wrote the poem because I just insisted on using that title.
Well done.
Yeah, I find that fascinating. I almost feel like you have your ear to the wind and things are whispering to you. Somebody wrote about like how your poems are so direct and vulnerable, but also so magically and powerfully written. Shamala, I might be misquoting you there, but I think that that's worth kind of looking
Yeah.
at. And is that what other people were experiencing? The directness and the vulnerability is amazing, but it's so beautifully written that it's just elevated to this beautiful level, where I couldn't keep up with the lines that I wanted to write down. There were so many.
You know, there's a
I
lot of
know.
great imagery in his poetry.
Yeah.
And the
Yes,
delivery
I wrote
was great.
yeah.
I love the way he reads. Like those poems, you could tell they belong to him.
Yeah.
They're so
Mhm.
Thank
It's a
you.
great way to put it, Cynthia.
Mhm.
It's a beautiful way to put it. You could tell they belong to him.
Yeah.
Lovely.
Mm.
I just wanted to add, I felt that about his imagery as well, and also the way he delivers it. And speaking of delivery, when I taught, I would do a engage the kids in a poetry readers theater, and the poems that they always enjoyed delivering the most and working on acting out the most were always Nik's poems. And I think it
Wow.
is because of the vulnerability in
Mhm.
it, and they knew that most of his work was autobiographical, and because he does weave so evocatively a narrative in each and every one of his poems, and it makes it so effortless, really, and so enjoyable to bring it alive, to make it come alive and acting it out as well. So it was really a neat way another way realm to bring his poetry alive in the classroom was when the kids acted it out. They really had a good time doing that.
I love hearing that. And I thank you so much for connecting Nik and I so that we could have this tonight. But
Oh, you're
also I
so
gotta say I'm so jealous of the students that got to have you as a teacher and also Nik as a teacher. Oh my gosh. I just think that would have been such an amazing experience. Mm. Do people have questions or other things you would like to talk to Nik about? Okay. Okay. Yeah, we're stunned into silence. Okay, can we also take a moment to look at the background with Nik and then also his bomb shirt? I mean, that is
yeah.
fabulous. And was the skull lighting up before? I didn't notice it until we started reading, and then I was like, "Oh, he's lighting
My,
up."
my friend Henry made this shirt. He's a tailor. He made it for my book launch in April.
Oh my God. I made the shirt. It's fabulous.
Mm-hmm.
It is amazing. It's perfect. Perfect. And so when you take your tour to New Orleans, maybe look at the Tennessee Williams Festival. I'll come meet you in the quarter and take you around.
I'm ready.
Awesome.
I
Awesome.
would just
I
like
want
to
to thank everybody for being here. I'm so impressed that you took your Thursday to hear me read. Thank you so much.
We love you, Nik. And I would just like to say I love how you blend the harshness of childhood and your childhood reality is hard to hear and but you do it in such a beautiful way and truth to be told. And so I love how you're vulnerable about that, and but then you pair it with the comedy and the lightheartedness and funny, quirky stuff about life that you bring to life. That's just so it's just so incredibly funny and just bouncing back and forth. It just have me all over the place with my emotions.
Jeannie,
I
I think
just
you're
have,
hitting something.
I,
Yeah, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Nick.
I just wanted to mention that my father was a cop, and the friend of all the police on his force in Essex County, New Jersey, Park Police, where Newark is, was the madam. And that was, they were, I think, as far as I knew at my age, when I knew about this, I was only about 8 or 9, and I just thought they were friends. I still
Sounds like
think
you've been inspired to write some things after hearing Nick read. It is good. I wanted to go back to what Jeannie said though, because I think you really struck something that I felt strongly when Nick was reading. At one moment, I noticed I was starting to tear up, and there was something about dealing with childhood and that sense. Oh, Celestine's here. I'm so sad she is just getting here, but we're glad she's here. Um, and but then also there's a way that he holds that space that made it easier to be in, and I really admired that skill. And I'm not so sure I understand exactly how you did it, Nick, but I think it has something to do with like also holding the other things in life. We're dealing with the grief and the trauma, but then also this vast awareness that the speaker has that makes it possible to hold it all. And I think you're right about the humor and the observation, the keen eye, and the beautiful language just is what made it such a beautiful experience to hear these poems read by Nick. So thank y'all. Yeah, let's take a moment to say thank you, Nick.
Thank you, Nick, very much.
that was good.
All right, guys, we're going to move towards open mic. And first I have Doc. And I'll just do a reminder to let's see. Linda, let's start with you, if that's okay.
Okay, you're talking to me?
Yes, Linda, thank you.
Okay, hi.
Hi.
So I'm just reading one poem. I don't know how long it is, but this should be okay.
Perfect.
I know a lot of people in this room. I don't know you, Malaka or Michaela?
Malika.
Sorry.
No worries. It's a
My
hard
last
name.
name's Waldika. Don't try to say it.
Okay, I was just going to say, if I had to say your last name, you don't want to know what I would do.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I'm very happy to see you again, Nick. And right now, that skull looks like it's airborne, floating in air up next to your head. Anyway, the postcard poem. I am across the street from the Atlantic Ocean in Avellino's Cafe in Swampscott waiting for the postcard prompt. I sip white wine, flip through pages of a notebook. A poet sets the postcard by my drink, a card with a unique picture of a container for canned foods labeled with these words, "Good Dishes from Tin Foods," with the name Ambrose Heath printed on the can's lid. An announcement is made that we all put our cell phones out of sight as no research is allowed. My mind thinks about Heath toffee candy bars. Mr. Ambrose Heath could be a chocolatier. The postcard is a reproduction, no date, so there is no knowing if Tin Foods canning would have existed a century ago, what with a pale apricot colored label and all of those curlicue designs penned on it. I am beginning to believe that Ambrose Heath is a made-up character, a catchphrase to puzzle the consumer, and instead this postcard is a museum relic misplaced from antiquated archives and now mass-produced as postcards. I look up from my notebook, and poets have raised their hands, offering to read the postcard poem they have just penned. All I have accomplished is questions about Tin Food's authenticity. No poem here. I sigh, feeling foolish about my doubts and suspicions. A tall, slim woman with pink hair, a toothy smile, and orange lipstick asks me, "Would you like a different postcard? I see that you have some questions instead of a poem to share." I answer, "No thanks, but I would like an answer as to whether the recipe of Heath candy bars is the same Heath as Ambrose and their Tin Foods." She replies, "Honey, those facts do not matter in this fun exercise. Just use your imagination. You can write down that the food in the can is wrapped in tin foil." She smiles and laughs at her own quip. I gather myself, leave money on the table, and exit the cafe. This poet is not going to humor her postcard audience with preposterous poetry poppycock. Thank you.
Oh, that was fun. And I love the insight into the thinking, the conversation that the speaker has in their mind. That's awesome. And
Okay,
also, I'm
thank you.
obsessed with Heath candy bars, so there's that. Doc, I have you next. Oh, and make sure you look in the chat section, Linda, for comments. I don't want you to miss them.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Doc.
Thank you. This is something I wrote after hearing a speech to the UN by the president of Slovenia. It's titled "To Touch the Rainbow." We reside in a storm of greed, narcissism, terror, conflict, fear, bigotry, misogyny, pollution, inequality, and war. We are each complicit in crimes against humanity, civilization, and the earth. Each of us who has the power to make a difference, but does not, knows the stakes and makes no attempt, is an affront to the dignity of all and to life itself. To end the storm, we are challenged. We are challenged to fulfill lives, to turn aside threats, to be inclusive of all, and to make a difference. A difference fostered in understanding, compassion, kindness, empathy, sharing stories, song, dance, music, art, poetry, and our lives, focusing on our sameness, on what links us, on mutual interests, to weather the storm and touch the rainbow and touch peace.
Thank you so much, Doc. Well, that was a poem I needed to hear today.
Well, thank you.
Amen.
I have John, I have you next. Make sure you unmute.
Why, hello. Nik, I love you so much and I love your poetry and congrats on your new book. So, I'm gonna read a poem about war. And this poem is called Since the World is War. And is that okay, Nik, if I promote a little? Is that okay with you?
I wish you would. You're such a fabulous writer, and I love your new book.
Thank you. So my new book recently come out March 10th, and so this poem is from that, and it's called House as a Cemetery. And
yes.
I'm glad you love the new book. So here it is. Writing poetry reincarnated his country. He records new cities while watching buildings become rubble. He sounds out gunfire, turns the music of warheads down. He witnesses children die. He watches mothers weep, ripped apart, then die. He scrutinizes men with power, wanting to be gods, becoming gods. He tries to ignore the corpus mountain that accumulates outside his window because in his nightmares, ominous stares haunt him. Dead eyes never close. There, the deceased rise. And that's that poem. Thank you.
Thank you, John. I was still trying to put in there. Holy dead, yes, powerful. And again, this is why I always walk away from our open mics going, there are so many amazing poets out there. It's just pure fire. So, John, make sure you, everybody, and Doc, make sure you check the chat section because people are writing things to you. Karen, I have you next.
Okay. I hope this isn't too long. It's not too bad. I just wrote it I finished it 15
Can't
minutes
wait.
before I came on. So
Can't
we'll
wait.
see how it goes. It's basically it's in response to some poetry by a poet I love that had some stuff I was like, what the heck? Anyway, Dredging the Contrarian. I held something of your poem like savor in my mouth until you abandoned line breaks for farm animals exploding. My trying to read your palm trees has left me, penniless, and nevertheless less wise. Your past, present, futures hold potential to all play swell together, but I enjoy no toying with my inflections, as in grow bigger, wider, deeper cojones. I have a flair for some Espanol. My moon bone, you gave me that luminescent word I will always beloved, can't help but be dreaming, and therefore is not a better door than a window. Round the bend and at a loss, I could steep my bagged regrets in mango, ginger, peppermint chai tea so hot you'd think a lot about every decision you've made, every incision you've carved. How many trees hold one of your hearts and a set of your initials, plus fill in the blanks? I'm not holding my breath for any answers, although I have found myself mystified by your use of excessive X's instead of Z's. I love you to the moon and back, like Saturn loves a good ring toss. This house has such naked windows and open doors for policies, and yes, no, please. I'll poke anything with a stick. See what kicks back. Silence is the broken window's pain.
Oh gosh, Kieran, I always enjoy when your wit and your musicality come together. Oh, that was just fabulous. Saturn loves a good ring toss.
I kind of liked that.
Yeah, and Linda, I will poke anything with a stick, right? It's hard not to enjoy that. Thank you so much, Karen. Christy, I have you next.
Okay, Karen, I have to say this because I couldn't type fast enough. I'm going to be careful of my line breaks because I don't want to make anything explode. So this poem I haven't read here before. I've only read it one other time, But when you see somebody that has such joy on their face, I think it's your job to write about it. So this is what I wrote. I watch you poem a clementine. In your hands, she's a small wonder. Your nimble fingers, patient, peel away her rind, pull back her silk-skinned veil. Segment by segment, you glory her, ripe, curved moons. Your tongue vowels her every silent fold. A citrus sigh escapes my lips as I witness her praise run down your chin. Thank you.
Gorgeous. Thank you, Christy. Yep, that's not one I had ever heard before. That's awesome. Very lush language. Yep. You had with the title, segment by segment, you glory her.
Can I plug for just a minute and invite everybody back on the 26th? Come join me in my Dead Fly Studios presentation. And if you want to find out what that means, you'll have to come back.
Sounds like a good idea.
Next Thursday. And we would love to see y'all.
On the 26th, Malika.
Oh, yeah, you're right. So not next Thursday. Thank you. Math is obviously not one of my strong points. Thank you. Bob, we have you next.
Okay. Language. The language used, never complete. The door opened, a misunderstanding. Each man, a different way of speaking. The light they brought, never used. Thank you.
So powerful. And I have such deep admiration for how you say so much in so few words. It's just, it's a joy to listen to.
Thank you.
It's a pleasure. Yeah. And always afterwards, I'm like, you're going to have to read it again. I think there's something else.
It's like a haiku.
Yeah, I want to say, I'm sure everybody that may be here for the first time, you're, doing what we get to do at least once a month, which is just go, wow, that's such good poems being written. Speaking of which, Kamala, I have you next.
Fresh ink, so be kind. Also, nobody knows what, if anything, on the news is true or false these days. So, having said that, woke up yesterday morning to the news, and FBI warns of possible drone strikes against California. I wonder who thought when a sleeping bear was poked, it would not hit back. California blooms, flowers visible from space, fleeting grace, waiting. As Tehran waited, in equal innocence, there, until America happened.
Holy smokes. Yeah. Powerful. I hope you've sent that out. Just a reminder, check the chat section because we're over here talking. Cal, I have you next.
Okay. Let's see, here we go. This one is called Free Lunch. A South Namibian mother counts her cow's ribs and raises maize. Flood season is coming. Some Pacific waters, heat or cool, El Nino or La Nina, or will some global climactic effect, she imagines. The hot wind-driven dust has brought drought. An old trucker told me rule number one, gravity always works, he said. You have to learn to make it work for you. make the depression, the dip in space-time, do it for you. Employ nanoparticles, tiny quantum bundles of energy to do it. The famous physicist said the universe is the ultimate free lunch, meaning its start, big piston bang, and that only due to impossibility of knowing what it came from and what it ends up going to. Figure of speech from not knowing, free, if you don't know where it comes from or where it goes. Planets' finite eddies get to exist. A few billion years of balance, seeming to oppose the flow of everything apart. Matter forms and gathers and persists in little anomalies for short times like scattered dust. Some global effect, we imagine. Top of the tall heap in the high seat. We're geniuses of balance. We've made it all work for us. But if I know anything, I know what's top heavy falls down. There is no free lunch. Thank you.
How about
Thank you,
free
Cal.
dinner? Is there
Free
free
dinner.
dinner? Because it's about dinner time here.
That's it.
So good. Cal, make sure you check the chat sections. I don't want you to miss what people are putting in there. Good, you've got it. Okay. I have Janie next, and then Laura and Juan. So Janie next.
Okay, there we go. Had to get to the mute button. I'm going to do a poem about two spirits who are following one another through time and space. And when one spirit passes on, they leave clues behind of where they've gone, so the one who is left behind can find them in the next situation. It's called Angel in Time. Pressing your finger to my lips, you say, shh, and mellow away my anxious volume to a faint whisper towards solitude. You exude so much love, and you touch my head. My dear, it's time for bed. You never rest. Look, I fluffed your best pillow and made the bed in fresh linens. Won't you please come in and just lie a while? I miss your smile and baby fine hair. I keep a picture over there, but I'd rather smell your skin. It seems it's been weeks that I held you and kissed your cheeks as you bent up your knees on your way to slumberland. Hold my hand and let me show you where it hurts. To the left, under my shirt and consuming my complete energy. When you touch me, I'm replenished. My diminished soul can sing, revitalized from the breeze on your wing. Don't you realize you're an angel to me? When you cry, I wipe the tears from your eye, leaving traces down your face, leading to another place and time where we shared laughs and wine by campfire light. Before electricity's invention and animated suspension led us to this awareness. I will always search for you, no matter how hard it takes and how much time it makes me so sad to know you've gone, and I know you'll find me. I'll try to leave every message so that you can find a way to me and that we can share eternity together. Thank you.
That felt like channeling, and I was trying to write that in. Yes. Linda just wrote, "Bless you, Janie. You are brave." Beautiful. Make sure you check the chat section, Janie. I don't want you to miss what people wrote. Laura, I have you next.
Yeah, I was so absorbed, I forgot I was next. Okay, this is an old one, but I just feel like reading it. This is called Grief. Death comes in a cup or a random man in a white van. It comes when you're on the pot or deep in slumber on your bed. It gathers us in like so many sheaves of wheat, bushels of grain. Death comes black-hooded with gleaming, hungry sight. There's no escape. But grief is a gray bureaucrat who comes to you with a briefcase full of pain, filled with files of regret and what if. Thank you.
Damn. I don't remember that one, Laura.
It's been a while.
I hope you've had that published, because if you haven't, I'm going to suggest some places to send it.
Do, because I haven't.
Okay. All right. I'll send you. We'll talk about that. And we are going to end with Juan. It's so good to see you, Juan. It feels like it's been
Well, great to
ages.
be here. I'm grateful to be back. I'm going to read a short poem. This is one of the poems I wrote not long ago. I was rereading Grapefruit by Yoko Ono. Some of you probably know that book well. And the pieces are written almost like instructions, kind of crazy instructions, but instructions. So I kind of took the form. So this is called Against Emptiness. Make a fist until you're tired of being angry. Open your hand and place it over the side of your face that still burns before you offer the other cheek. Form a cup with your hands and fill it with cold water. Take small sips. Forgive yourself as you swallow. Drink until you're grateful. Thank you.
Love that poem. Yes. Can we take a moment to clap for everybody that read and for all the people that are here and holding space, and especially to Nik for letting us
read yet.
Nik!
I didn't. Are you going to call on me?
Oh, Cindy, you know what? I'm glad you said something. I don't know what happened, but let's come to you. Yeah.
You forgot me is what happened.
Sandy, I made a mistake. And I'm so sorry, because I want to hear your poem.
I printed out several. I don't know which one to do, but I'm going to end the open mic with a one-liner that's really silly, but Bob published it when he was publishing his magazine, Clown War. And here it is. It's called So Much for White Rabbits. I asked Alice. She said she didn't know.
Okay.
What?
Oh, Cindy, you're going to have to read another one. And I love that.
You
Because I
want
want
me
to
to
know
read
what else is
another
in your
one?
pile. Yes, I do.
Okay.
I think she'll know.
Well, for this one, everyone has to know the last word. And if you don't, you could all Google it or look it up. It's called Location, 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 which is, of course, a real estate term. Some folks live in a city called Schenectady. Some yogis live in a perpetual state of ecstasy. Pregnant women live in a state of expectancy. And poets live on the outskirts of Synecdoche. I finally learned how to pronounce it.
See, I knew we needed to hear that last one.
That was great.
Yes. Well, we are right at time, and I just want to say thank y'all so much for making my night. As I was telling people earlier, ODU is where I got my undergraduate and my graduate degree, and my nephew skipped class today and was not in the building where the active shooter was. And I'm very grateful.
Yeah.
Thank y'all for an amazing night.
Thanks, Malika.
Well,
Good night.